We're here in the area region for this. I'm Kristen Estes, and this is Lakeshore. The town of Maryville is commemorating a valued public servant 1 week after the police officer was killed in the line of duty. The Indiana State Fraternal Order of Police say funeral arrangements are being finalized for 24-year-old Nicholas Schultz. Schultz, a graduate of Lowell High School and Franklin College, was killed September 5th when responding to a call at Temple Lake condominiums in Maryville. Schultz was shot once in the head in an exchange of gunfire with suspected shooter Michael Hernseer, who later killed himself. Governor Mike Pence extended his condolences to the family of Officer Schultz and said that, as we grieve his passing, we're reminded of the extraordinary sacrifices Indiana's law enforcement officers and their families make every day. Maryville police say visitation for Officer Schultz will be held on Sunday, September 14th in the Celebrity West Ballroom of the Radisson Star Plaza Hotel in Maryville. Charlie Blum, president and CEO of the Star Plaza Theater, says the funeral service for Officer Schultz will be held at the Star Plaza Theater on Monday, September 15th at 11 a.m. Doors will open at 10 a.m. 13 years after thousands were killed in the nation's deadliest terrorist attack, several local businesses are signing up to show their respect. More than 40 businesses along Kennedy Avenue in Hammond put messages commemorating 9/11 on their marquees, signs, and windows in the largest effort yet from a local group. It's the 4th annual tribute from Neighborhoods Incorporated of Hammond. This year, the group's memorial effort expanded to include some Highland businesses as well. A local organization aimed at ending hunger in the region made a first-of-its-kind stop in Porter County this week. The Food Bank of Northwest Indiana held its first mobile market in Valparaiso with assistance of local Walmart employees. The Walmart Foundation also provided the food bank with 2 grants totaling $160,000. Some of the money was used to purchase a new refrigerated food truck. The mobile market provides items such as fresh produce and canned goods to families in need by bringing the service into their communities.
More than 104,000 individuals in Lake and Porter counties are facing hunger. 34,000 of them are children. Programs like ours, our mobile market, our summer feeding program, our backpack program, help ease the stress on families.
The grant funds will also be used to start a food program for seniors in East Chicago. Another local charitable organization is mobilizing its forces to build a more stable future for one local family. Hillary Powell shows how.
A new home being built in Northwest Indiana stands for more than just a habitat. It's a symbol of hope for a local veteran. September marks National Suicide Awareness Month. A new Pentagon report released this week shows mental health concerns are still a constant fight for many service members.
I'm still shocked. This kind of stuff doesn't happen. I mean, not to me.
Retired Army veteran Danye Carter is celebrating a milestone with his 2 sons, Danye and Dejan, this week, breaking ground on a future home.
We're living in Portage right now, and we're moving here to Maryville because Habitat for Humanity blessed us with a home. God blessed us, and they followed through.
He's the recipient of the first Veterans Build by Habitat for Humanity of Northwest Indiana and the Northwest Indiana Veterans Action Council. Stakes line the ground where the no-interest mortgage house will be erected by 2015. Though he's smiling today, the Desert Storm veteran says he faced darker emotions in his past with post-traumatic stress disorder.
It was like I was having bad dreams. Things would just click in my head, and my attitude would be is I'm still in war. It's hell.
The mental health of all veterans is a subject of a September report from the Department of Defense. It states 120 service members committed suicide in the first 3 months of the year. Senator Joe Donnelly calls the report concerning.
They're on the same pace as last year, which just further reinforces the need. They would be able to have someone to talk to, someone to seek counsel from.
He says legislation he authored this year, the Jacob Sexton Military Suicide Prevention Act, would provide a pilot program of annual mental health assessments for military members. He says routine checkups would lessen the stigma for those needing help.
What we're trying to make sure of is that it doesn't play any role in making determinations about a service member's career.
Carter says he went to a local clinic for counseling. Zach McElwain, a fellow with Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, says any new legislation should make sure veterans can access help in their communities.
We need a comprehensive bill down to the local communities. It's not just the federal government, it's not just the state, but it's everybody involved to try and reverse the trend of veteran suicide.
Our purpose is to just give someone that chance to talk about what's going on, get assistance where there's just information.
Sean McDaniel of Crisis Center Incorporated in Gary says the National Suicide Prevention Hotline collaborates with the Veterans Crisis Line to connect veterans to the nearest center when they dial in.
Those individuals have sort of said, I'm willing to sacrifice my life to serve my country. So I think it's important for us to say, okay, we appreciate that. Here's how we will support you when you get home.
A congressional report states more members of the military committed suicide in 2012 than the total number who died in combat operations. McDaniel says the hotline is a lifeline where veterans and civilians can seek 24-hour anonymous help.
You don't see that person face to face. You most likely won't know that person, so there's that chance to be anonymous as well as be a bit freer in what you say. And
he says friends and family can also be aware of warning signs like depression, fits of crying or anger, and talking in finite ways.
Those who have served us.
Carter says seeking help is a sign of strength.
We were taught to keep fighting, to keep going. As far as support is, you need it. You're not going to make it without it. Just say, hey, look, I did what I was supposed to do. Now do what you're supposed to do for me. Please.
Serving my tour of duty to enhance the lives of...
The proposed mental health legislation is included in the Defense Authorization Bill being considered by Congress. You can find more information on suicide awareness on our website, lakeshorepublicmedia.org. Trauma of another kind is behind a serious effort at Methodist Hospital to receive a prestigious accreditation. Lakeshore Steve Walsh sat down with two people helping to spearhead that effort.
Northwest Indiana is the last major portion of the state that does not have a trauma center. Now that may be changing. The Indiana EMS Commission recently designated Methodist North Lake and Gary as a trauma center in process. Actually, Franciscan Alliance also announced they are seeking the same designation for St. Margaret's in Dyer and St. Anthony in Crown Point. To talk about how this will work, we have two representatives from Methodist, Jennifer Mullins, she is the trauma coordinator, and then Dr. Ruben Rutland, who is the trauma medical director for Methodist. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So why is this important? I mean, for those that don't know this issue, why is it important that we specifically have a trauma center, not just the collection of hospitals that we do in Northwest Indiana?
It's a great question. Most people don't know that there's a difference between trauma and non-trauma centers. Most people, in fact, think their local hospital is a trauma center. The difference in the two is that when you transport an injured patient to a trauma center, you reduce their mortality by 30%. And it's because of all the processes and procedures you have into place to quickly and efficiently move a patient through the golden hour after their injury. So there's a big difference.
That golden hour being within 1 hour, that's the most dangerous hour for somebody who's experienced a car crash or other major trauma. You need to get them into surgery within that hour.
Yes.
Right. Well, not just surgery. It's the most critical hour. It's the hour of resuscitation. Within that hour, by the end of that hour of resuscitation, that patient needs to neither be in the ICU, in the OR, or downgraded to a not so critical level of care.
I know one reason why we don't have a trauma center here is because it's expensive. It just costs a lot of money to have all these doctors available kind of at a moment's notice to handle these really tough cases.
Well, I'd like to clarify something. In fact, we do have a trauma center here now, and Methodist Hospital North Lake has been recognized as the state as in the process.
So you are, because you're trauma center in process, you're going to go for accreditation, but by the state's definition, you're the trauma center now.
Yes, we are officially recognized as the state's 16th trauma center. So we are filling that big gaping hole in Northwest Indiana. We're on the map.
But the cost. We were talking about the cost.
The
cost.
How
expensive this is.
I think you're referring to like a level 1 trauma center. Level 1 trauma center, and I believe they actually started to do some research to see would we qualify. I think there's another study out there to see if we were qualified to be a level 1 trauma center. They're always studying that area. It is, that would be expensive, but I personally think that we would need that in this area. We have a lot of industry around the area. We have 3 highways going through the city. You know, we get a fair amount of trauma, and it's going to take a commitment from the state as well as the region to bring that to pass, though.
So how has Methodist had to change to meet this requirement of being a trauma center, level 3? And there are 3 designations. Level 1 is like the highest. Big teaching hospitals in Chicago have that.
Right.
Then there's a level 2, and then level 3 is a designation you're going for. How do you have to change things at Methodist?
Well, we just put protocols in place. As I said at the press conference the other day, Methodist has been doing trauma and has been doing trauma well. But what we did was we took a lot of the individuality out of it and kind of streamlined and standardized care. So now everyone speaks with the same voice. That way the person that's receiving the patient can anticipate what to do from the person that's bringing the patient to them at the next level of care, whether that's the OR or the ICU.
Well, unfortunately, that's where we're going to have to leave it for right now. Dr. Ruben Rutland, he's the Trauma Medical Director at Gary Methodist North, and Jennifer Mullins, she's the Trauma Coordinator. Thanks to both of you for being on.
Thank you
for having us.
Thanks. Northwest Indiana's first Level 3 Trauma Center is expected to bring significant health benefits to the community. But local officials are also talking about the economic benefits of having a new form of high-level care available in Lake County. A celebration this week at the hospital brought community leaders together to speak about the importance of the new designation.
This is really something big that the whole of Northwest Indiana should be excited about, the fact that Methodist has taken this quantum leap to become designated as a Level 3 trauma center.
As an in-process Level 3 trauma center, Methodist Hospital's North Lake campus in Gary can now receive patients with serious traumatic injuries, something that health officials recognize was previously lacking in an area with multiple highways, heavy industry, and urban violence.
This means that EMS providers may now transport the most seriously ill and injured patients within a 45-minute radius of our North Lake campus right here.
We're the second largest population in the state of Indiana in terms of the people here, but yet we did not have a trauma center in our area. And so to me and everybody involved, it was a travesty.
This is a huge deal because until this time, you had a part of this state from the Illinois border all the way to South Bend and from the Michigan border all the way to Lafayette with no trauma center.
But hospital staff say the approval has other benefits, like enhancing the hospital's reputation and hopefully bringing in more patients at all levels of care.
People hear that you do trauma, they think, well, that means you must be special because that means you can take care of folks that are that sick, and you can take care of everybody else.
We've been doing it. We know how to do it. So give us a chance. Come to us and we'll prove you wrong. Whatever negative thoughts you may have about our hospital or the fact that it's in Gary or in an urban area, we're gonna disprove everyone that, hey, we do good care and that's what really matters.
State Representative Charlie Brown of Gary has spent years advocating for a regional trauma center. He hopes the hospital will move toward higher Level 2 and 1 accreditation. And he says state officials are seeing the economic value as well.
We have 2 things in our favor. One, the Affordable Care Act. This means that there will be more people that may have traumatic episodes that will have insurance coverage. Also, the fact that the gentleman that plays a major role in writing the budget happens to be an MD and also an emergency room doc. So there's more and more concentration and emphasis placed on the needs for the state playing a role in trauma care in the state of Indiana.
Level 1 status requires a teaching hospital, something Brown says would keep local medical students close to home.
One of my main emphasis that we have the medical school here, why not put that emphasis on trying to get those students that graduate to stay here in the area?
An idea Gary native Dr. Ruben Rutland understands firsthand.
Methodist Hospital is my hospital. It's our hospital. I was born here. I was hospitalized here as a kid. And every day on that bus ride to Emerson, I figured one day and hoped one day I would work here.
Dr. Rutland now serves as the Trauma Medical Director at the North Lake campus.
They reminded me there are opportunities here in Gary, and you made my decision to come home a lot easier.
That is ultimately what I, as the mayor,
want to communicate to our young people who are growing up and who are pursuing their educations and are doing the things that we want them to do, that there's a place right back here for you in this city. You can come home. And that's one of the ancillary messages of this announcement. And we are excited about this announcement, but we are also excited about what it means going forward.
Hospital staff say receiving the final accreditation is still a lengthy process, and the hospital will be given 2 years to earn that status. Well, another Northwest Indiana facility has achieved a major milestone. John Kane has more in this week's Eye on the Arts.
Hi, joining me for this edition of Eye on the Arts is Richard Friedman, General Manager of Theater at the Center for Visual and Performing Arts. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you.
So you have a show opening this weekend, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown.
Does that apply to anyone in the audience?
It applies to almost everybody I know.
Men and women, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's a great piece. It's based on a film by Pedro Almodovar, set in Madrid in the swinging 80s. And it's got great music. The score is fantastic. We've got some of the best performers in Chicago are in our cast: Larry Adams, Hollis Resnick, Summer Smart, Corey Goodrich. We had a tragedy happen that one of our actors was in an accident last week. So we've replaced him and we've delayed the start, but we'll be starting this Saturday, tomorrow, I guess, the 13th.
That's correct.
Yes, and it's going to be a fantastic show, and we're doing it to honor Bernie Yvonne, who was just a fantastic performer.
So the show must go on.
That's what the cast wanted to. The cast wanted to. I mean, you know.
Yeah. What a fun show to choose, though.
Oh, yeah. It was done on Broadway.
Yes.
And it got the proverbial mixed reviews, but they changed it. And Bill Polinski is a master at taking shows with problems, our artistic director, and making them better because the music is fantastic. It's the storytelling is a madcap, crazy scene. The costumes are fabulous. And I think if you go, you'll have a great time. If you've never been to our theater, shame on you. We've been here 25 years. We need you.
This is going to be the 25th season coming up, anniversary. And it is it's the only full-time professional theater in Northwest Indiana.
Exactly. We have the best people. These people have been on Broadway. They've been at the Goodman. They've been at Steppenwolf. I mean, we get the best people, and they like coming to Munster because it's a family atmosphere.
And there's free parking.
What could be better?
What could be better in this world?
Yes.
Absolutely. And so, and then also Theater at the Center does special events.
Right. We're collaborating with our friend John at South Shore Arts to do a concert on the 18th, Thursday the 18th. Trouble Notes. They hail from Berlin, of all places, but the
local
leader,
connection.
Bennett Servin, is a Munster boy. So come on the 18th. I think you won't. I can't describe it well because it's gypsy fiddling and jazz and rock. But take a chance, and if you don't like it, John will give you your money back.
No, he won't. But you should come because if you YouTube them, they're wonderful. They're on subway platforms in New York, or they're someplace in Berlin, or they're everywhere. So that'll be fun.
Yes, and then we're doing a show. Ron Keaton does a one-man Winston Churchill that's fantastic on October 19th.
Okay,
so
but that's
just
all
go
we
to our
can.
website.
That's all we can do
we
tonight.
We can't plug anymore?
No, that's
okay.
it. Thank you, Richard.
Right.
And thank you for watching. Okay. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Eye on the Arts. Eye on the Arts is made possible in part by South Shore Arts, the Indiana Arts Commission, and the National Endowment for the Arts, a federal agency.
All right, so I'm not exactly prepared to take on any sword fights. However, I did have a lot of fun while learning some of the basics at the Northwest Indiana Fencing Club on this week's Jump in the Lake. Mark Reiser is a coach with the Northwest Indiana Fencing Club. And Mark, you've been doing this for a really long time, haven't you?
Most of my life, actually. 27 years in October.
Wow. Now, how long has the Fencing Club been in existence here in St. John?
We have been here in this facility for 10 years.
Wow. What does it take to be a fencer?
The willingness to do it.
So anybody off the street can come in and say, hey, I want to learn how to do this, correct?
Absolutely. There's no prerequisite for becoming a fencer. there are lots of prerequisites for becoming a good fencer.
Okay, but
anybody can do it for fun.
can try it. I want to see how some of this works. Would you show me?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
The first thing I'm going to do is show you how to protect yourself from my attacks.
Okay.
All right, so come on guard. Now, very, very slowly, I'm going to make an attack down toward your head.
All right.
All right, so what do you think you should do to stop it? That was it exactly. There's nothing wrong with what you just did. To this side.
Whoops!
Okay.
Sorry.
That one's wrong.
This one?
Nope.
No?
Go
Okay.
back to your on guard.
Okay.
Move it out just a little bit. Now stay right there.
Oh, I see.
You're already there. That's why we teach this is on guard. It already protects that side.
Okay.
This side. That's it exactly.
Okay, that was fast and very frightening.
One more time.
I didn't make it. That way. Okay.
Good. You got the blade up. You didn't
Not
stop
on
it from hitting
time.
you, but you got the blade up. Good. Good.
Oh, you got me. Ouch.
Good. Those are the 3 basic parries.
Okay.
That's how you protect yourself from what I do.
We've only been doing this a very short time, but what you've shown me is incredibly condensed.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
have regular classes that people can join, and how long are those sessions typically?
We teach an 8-week class that typically happens 4 times a year. 2 months to do the class, 1 month to take a little bit of downtime in between, and then usually again. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. If we don't have anybody signing up, obviously we won't run a class. And just as likely, if we have 30 or 40 people signing up right now, then we'll run one right now.
I think it's hysterical. All you hear me doing is shrieking and saying, ouch, and oh my gosh. It moves incredibly fast.
Yeah, I saw that from the video there. It looks like something that you could learn the basics pretty easily, but to master, I'm sure it takes years.
Oh, no question about it. The people who are very accomplished there, and there are more than one of those, just move so quickly it's hard to even track it with the eye. But that shouldn't intimidate you if you're interested in learning about fencing, like I did, only the basics there. You can go to the Northwest Indiana Fencing Club and find out more. Also, if you'd like to, on this or any of our stories, just go to our website, lakeshorepublicmedia.org, and we have kind of expanded versions there so you can find out more about this and anything else you're interested in. Sarah, what are we working on for next week?
Well, as we had at the top of the show, the services for Maryville officer Nick Schultz will be next week, so we will be out there covering that. Certainly a sad event for the community, but important to pay respects and to show him the honor that he deserves.
Absolutely.
And as always, if you want to reach out and give us your questions, comments, concerns about that story or any other story, you can always reach us at tvfeedback@lakeshorepublicmedia.org. We're also on Facebook at Lakeshore Report and Twitter at Lakeshore Report. So we're always looking for to interact there as well.
And speaking of interacting, we will be doing that with the community with a special event coming up this week.
We will be. Next Thursday, September 18th, is our Lakeshore Professional Women's Conference at the Radisson. And a lot of great speakers coming out, vendors, a lot of things to check out for all aspects of what it takes to have a successful career
We'll be there.
for women. Yeah.
We'll be there. And if you'd like to find out more about that, you need to contact Lindsay Gargas.
Ask for Lindsay. You can call the station here, 219-756-5656, and Lindsay will get you everything you need to know.
Okay. We want to thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you next week on Lakeshore Report.